What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MetsUP podcast. We are patiently awaiting opening day, but we do have some things to talk about. Spring Breakout's coming up. We're going to talk about that, one of our favorite events of the year. Then one of our favorite events in all of baseball, the World Baseball Classic, just ended, so we'll give you our thoughts, feelings, opinions on all of that as we await for opening day. I cannot wait. I need real baseball. The WBC got me itching. Before we do get going into it, make sure you guys are subscribed to MetsUP. We're dropping 3 episodes a week after every single series. Members get early access if you want to see that. Subscribe, join up on the memberships. You don't have to, but of course helps us out over here. We appreciate you. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. James, WBC was crazy. I think we'll talk about that in a second. Spring Breakout, one of our favorite things. Let's tell the people a little more about it.
I'm super excited for the Spring Breakout. Just as a reminder to you guys, if you're not tuned in or just freaks of nature like us, I'm sure some of you guys are, this is the third year now running, third year now running, where Major League Baseball is doing an event where teams can kind of ordain some of their breakout prospects who are kind of coming on the cusp of becoming more important pieces of the organization, and they play a game. And the Mets Spring Breakout game is tonight when you guys are listening to this, 7 o'clock against the Tampa Bay Rays. It's going to be at Port St. Lucie, so if you guys are down at spring training, this last week of spring training games, you're going to be able to catch it. Major League Baseball, of course, shout out them out as usual, going up against March Madness with one of the best marketing events of the spring. But the Mets, comparatively to years past, this is not, I think, the most exciting roster. I mean, 2 years ago was the Nolan McLean breakout show. Last year, I think we got a good look at Carson Bench, too, and people started to really realize what was going on among other players. This year, it's a little bit looser on some top-end talent, but we're going to have AJ Ewing, Ryan Clifford, Jacob Reimer, guys we've seen this spring, Elian Peña, Jack Wenninger. It's still a very, very fun list for just a really good farm system.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of these new names that are popping up on this Spring Breakout list because, as you said in the past, a lot of the big name prospects, and we still have some of those guys, but the top of our farm system now is getting ready to graduate, is getting ready to be at the major league level. So a lot of those guys will not be appearing in this game. Like, technically, Nolan McLean's still our number one prospect, which, I mean, that just feels insane to say out loud.
Ridiculous. I mean, just pitched the World Baseball Classic final. He's our number one prospect. But again, I think the big things to watch will be, it feels funny because we've watched him so much this spring. AJ Ewing is looking like the next number one overall prospect in the system. If not him, it's going to be Jack Wenninger. I'm sure one of those guys will be hitting leadoff. The other one's going to start this game, if I had to guess. Ryan Clifford and Jacob Reimer have been moving through the system quickly, power hitting corner guys. Clifford's been doing some outfield too. Reimer has really been talking himself about the strides he's making defensively, and I think both those guys do profile as possible regular major leaguers as we get going here. Both hit the ball hard. One of my favorites of the last few years, Eli Serrano. He's had a couple of shots this spring. He's been handling center field for the Mets. He was, I think, if I remember correctly, a high school teammate of Ryan Clifford as well. That was it, yeah. So those guys are the same age. So still pretty young comparatively to the level Serrano. He spent some time at NC State, so I don't think he's really that young anymore. But as a left-handed hitter who could handle center field, it's like that's the kind of archetype that gets you very excited about a prospect.
Yeah, I mean, there are some exciting, fun names on here. I feel like, should I just read out the roster real quick, James, you think?
Yeah, do them all.
All right, so on the pitching side, we have Juan Arnaud.
Good question.
We'll find out, I guess, during this game. Good for pronunciations. Hoss Brewer, electric name. Nicholas Carreño, Saul Garcia, Christopher Gomez, Douglas Orellana, Jonathan Santucci, Ben Simon, and Jack Wenninger. When you talk about the catchers, we have Daverson Gutierrez, Chris Suero, and Julio Zayas. For the infield, you've got Junior Amparo, Ryan Clifford, Randy Guzman, Jonathan Enriquez, Antonio Jimenez, Elian Peña, Jacob Reimer, DeAndre Smith, Marco Vargas, Mitch Voit. And then the outfield, AJ Ewing, Nick Morabito, and as you mentioned, Eli Serrano. A name that jumps out to me. I mean, obviously, we're gonna talk a little bit about Elian Peña because I do think he's done some things this spring on the backfields that are getting people really excited. But I'm interested to see what Antonio Jimenez can do because he's someone who I feel like a lot of people in the draft world liked as like a kind of quiet little pick that the Mets made last year out of UCF.
Yeah, similar to what we just talked about with Serrano. I think trying to get players who fit archetypes of guys that can turn into like kind of easy top 100 prospects without much changing. Antonio Jimenez has plus power and a plus arm with a plus glove as shortstop. I know that teams really did like his bat objectively coming out of the draft. The Mets took him like 100th overall. That was like the 3rd round pick, I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Last year around there, 107, something like that. and they had to work on his swing decisions. Last year, he took a cup of coffee down in St. Louis right after the draft. He didn't strike out very much. He didn't walk very much either, and that was with a very high swing rate. So I'm still wondering if he's trying to figure out the swing decisions. If they're like, hey there, young man, go out there and just smack the ball around. He didn't hit the ball super hard, but again, not a super large sample of it either. Still looks like he's a guy that it's just going to be someone who could possibly be a plus defender with plus power. Again, archetypes, shoot for good archetypes.
And also Mitch Voigt from that draft class as well.
Yeah, Voigt.
We talked about it with Matt Eddy. Very exciting. Someone who could also be potential number one prospect in this Mets farm system by the end of the season. Yeah, because he's playing shortstop, which is something that we didn't actually expect coming out of the draft. He was taken as a two-way player, and also played second base, outfield, and I think was a relief pitcher at a time in Michigan.
He was pitched for a little bit.
They have faith in him that he can play shortstop well enough, and the bat has been loud recently. He has been making some really good contact, putting up some good exit velos, making good swing decisions, all things that you like to hear about a prospect that the Mets might have gotten really good value on if they can turn him into an everyday shortstop.
I'll say this too. I'm starting to get a little bit cocky with the Mets drafting and development, especially when you think about a guy like Mitch Voigt, because 2 years ago that was 3 years ago now, Nolan McLean, two-way player. Oh, look at this. Nolan McLean became a superstar.
And he hit really well, too, when he hit with the Mets.
And then you have Carson Bench. Oh, let's take a two-way player, see if we can coax a little bit more out of him. Oh, wow, look, this guy became a superstar, too. And the Mets already made a big swing change with Mitch Voigt. I believe that they gave him a leg kick. I don't remember if they gave him a leg kick or they took the leg kick away. He was already someone that had plus power. He made good swing decisions. And then now, if he could be a plus defender at shortstop, he's a plus athlete. Like he has the kind of helium for things to happen fast. And again, we've seen things happen fast the last few years. Maybe it's a little heat check for us in the Mets system. Maybe it's us just being a little bit cocky, but it's fun. And from baseball perspective, his most recent top 101 prospects, Serrano and Voigt were already fringe top 100 prospects.
Whoa, okay.
So there's already a growing helium in the industry about these guys. So it's a nod to Mets player development, Mets college scouting, and just seeing these guys in the field together will be fun.
And also, just got to mention our dark horse. Maybe he's a dark horse potential number one candidate. Bronx Dalton Varsho, Chris Suero. If he can play catcher and center field, and even a little bit of first base or third base, whatever he's done on the infield, along with the hitting that he has, along with the athleticism, things start to connect the dots there. And you see a player that I think is going to be really, really good for the Mets in the future.
The one thing I really want to watch with Suero, because I've been saying that like kind of tongue-in-cheek on Twitter, future top 100 prospect. It's a big thing about his center field defense. If he can actually get out there and play, I know it's been mostly left so far, but the athleticism kind of lends itself that he can be plus in center. People still like his actions as a catcher behind the plate, and he has a cannon for an arm. So it's and he's got 74-mile-per-hour bat speed, which we saw from the Arizona Fall League last year. We talked to him at the Arizona Fall League last year. That dude he was a homie, but it's kind of the spot where there's enough physical tools there where you can really see a very, very impactful major leaguer down the road.
That's one of those where if the Mets hit on that, you're going to really see some intolerable cockiness coming from us. If they make Chris Suero, who I believe was an undrafted free agent as well.
Which year was that, though? Did he get swept up in the 2020 BS?
Could have been the 2020 BS. Could have been 2021 BS. Just the cutting down of the draft. But either way, Chris Suero seems like someone who I think Mets fans, again, should keep an eye out for. So
undrafted 2022.
There you go. I mean, that would be a huge, huge win. There's also some other names on the pitching side again. Wenninger being the biggest one. Jonathan Santucci probably the next. But we like some of the other guys as well.
I think the big thing is that I feel like we've talked about Wenninger so much during the spring training period of this show that it's almost like he feels like an afterthought in something like this because we've seen that advanced data on him. I'm excited to see the data on Santucci. I want to see fastball movement. I want to see if he's able to mix in a changeup. He's one of the most divisive Mets prospects. There are some people who make their lists, and Santucci's probably like a top 6 or 7 guy. Then on other lists, he's probably way outside the top 10, thinks there's reliever risk. I'm curious about why we haven't seen Will Watson on any of this stuff. I think he was in the spring breakout game last year. But it's been a very quiet spring for Watson. He hasn't gotten any looks in Major League camp, and he's also not in a game like this, so something to keep an eye on there. But excited for Santucci. We've talked about Douglas Oriana in the past. He has some fun stuff. Ben Simon, which just looked like a little stuffed demon for Israel in the World Baseball Classic. He went to tread this offseason, got his fastball up to 98 miles per hour with a little sweeper with it. Saul Garcia is one that I know Ernest Dove, Mets prospect hound. He's like one of his favorite guys in the system. He's a nasty reliever who had a good year at Brooklyn this year. He's got one of those just low slot, side army fastballs the Mets really seem to love. This isn't like the sexiest Mets pitching prospect breakout group, but there's still some fun names up and down the board.
Also, shout out Randy Guzman. Guy got to St. Lucie last year and just mashed. He is he's a bat speed exit velo demon.
Yeah, I think he's like 19 years old. He's already had put up a couple 111s. Matt Eddy spoke about him. We had him on to overview the whole system a few weeks ago now. Another few pitchers that has some fun stuff. Juan Arnaud. We're going to find that out hopefully tonight when you guys are listening to this. But he's a sinker cutter, righty. It's kind of fun stuff, but it's very low extension, even though he does sit 96 miles per hour. So he just had a very nice year for St. Lucie. I think he got up to Brooklyn by the end of it as well. Christopher Gomez is someone I shouted out very early on this past season because we had data on him from St. Lucie, and he's a huge guy, like 6'4", 220.
Yes,
as a 22-year-old, and he gets over 7 feet of extension. So even though he sits 94, that extension is really nice, and he has a wicked sweeper. It just shoots across the whole field, and that's something that is fun to watch. And he throws a very hard changeup that sits in the upper 80s. So not a lot of difference between that and his fastball, but nice to see a changeup that's at least getting some swings and misses in the minor leagues. And there's one more guy I had circled here. Was it Nicholas Carreño? Yeah, Nicholas Carreño also just has a really nice slider, sinker, four-seam mix from the left side. And then, yeah, I want to know one thing I want to mention. He's a triple fastball guy. Sinker, cutter, four-seam.
Oh, triple fastball guy.
Mets love the triple fastball. That was basically the only thing he threw last year at low A.
Who's your spring breakout pick?
Spring breakout pick. I think it's going to be Randy Guzman because I'm looking for one guy who could put the ball in play like 113 miles an hour. So Guzman, Peña, Reimer, Serrano, Clifford, any of these guys can do it. Not a lot to talk about Marco Vargas. He's had a few not so good years in the system after coming over the David Robertson trade, but I think that's going to be the one. Or like maybe if Ben Simon just hits like 100.
That's fair. Yeah, if Ben Simon hits 100, you're like, are you a major league reliever? Are you ready to roll? I mean, it's not really a good pick. Like Elian Peña is kind of a safe one, but he's still 18 years old, and he did just take Liam Doyle deep twice on the backfields. Lefty Liam Doyle, who was one of the top picks in the draft, one of the best pitchers in college baseball, and a 18-year-old just went yabo on him twice. So I'm interested to see if Elian Peña can just put up a crazy exit velo for me in this game.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what position Elian Peña plays in this game. Like, I do wonder if he's out there at shortstop. I just wanted to see who's playing center field, who's playing shortstop, basically. That's kind of a big thing I like to watch in these things. How do the Mets view these guys' defensive ceilings?
Which leads us now to our conversation about the World Baseball Classic. Of course, all of our World Baseball Classic coverage is brought to you by our friends at Fox One, which is live. Stream all your Fox favorites together in one place, including all the WBC games over the next few weeks. I mean, you just saw those. And after that, the best MLB action all season long. From the WBC through the World Series to the World Cup to NASCAR and IndyCar, with Fox One, you get it all live. Start your 7-day free trial today. Offers are subject to change. Download Fox One today and stream the World Baseball Classic live. Now through March 17th. All right, well, it's passed. Go to fox1.com for complete terms and conditions. Fox One streaming now. Watch some baseball. Watch some Fox shows. James, the World Baseball Classic is over. We saw Team USA fall to Team Venezuela. I don't think there was any Mets on Venezuela this year, which is kind of surprising because I feel like we normally have a lot of Venezuelans.
And we have Francisco Alvarez. He didn't make it to this tournament, but it's funny.
We had Johan.
We had Johan. Johan was great. Johan was one of the stars of this tournament, I feel like. Him and Miguel Cabrera, watching those two as coaches was kind of surreal, honestly. I feel like the Mets fan perspective of the World Baseball Classic is kind of interesting right now because we got to see Nolan McLean, who's like our baby boy, on such an incredible stage. And he pitched objectively, I think, well. He definitely pitched better against Venezuela than he did against Italy.
Yes.
But I think because he just gave up a few untimely home runs, that there's a lot of people in the regular baseball world who are kind of chastising him. And I think in response to that, a lot of the more statistically inclined National Baseball minds are defending Nolan McLean. Like, I never thought I'd see, like, Mike Petriello and Nick Pollock and, like, even Jeff Passan, like, go out to, like, go to bat for Nolan McLean in a World Baseball Classic game because he gave up a few solo home runs. But that's where we are. And again, like, watching some of the things that went viral about him, like certain pitches, the sweeper, that was really cool to see. It was nice. It was also nice to see him stay composed in what we'll say, maybe some people disagree with us, such a big game.
Yes.
And at the same time, over a 63 pitch sample on Tuesday night in the final, basically sit 99 miles per hour and just look nasty doing it.
Yeah, well, I was at the game. I saw the first 99 pop up. I was like, Nolan, chill, man. Like,
chill the fuck, chill out, man.
I love the World Baseball Classic as much as anybody, but let's relax. Last time I watched the Mets pitcher pitch in Miami in the World Baseball Classic, it ended poorly. So I was definitely a little bit nervous watching. I was rooting for no injury from him, which maybe that was the kiss of death for Team USA, but he really pitched well. Like, again, if you close your eyes and look at his line versus Skeens against Team DR, a little bit different lineups, but not too different. They both pitched completely fine games. The reason why Team USA lost is because they couldn't hit. They couldn't hit the ball at all in that game.
And it was just the whole time kind of disappointing to watch this Team USA. They always kind of left us wanting more. It looked like they just didn't have, not looked like, it's clear they didn't have the same level of passion, heart, desire. I don't know, just like raw baseball, like bleh. Like there was something they didn't have that the other teams did.
I mean, when you have one of your biggest stars talking about how excited he is to play in the Olympics and hopes that he can play in the Olympics,
now,
which will be a 6-team tournament, by the way. I know he backtracked, but like, what a stupid comment, dude. That raw milk's going to your head. Bryce Harper, down year. That's my prediction.
Oh, wow, bold.
Bold, I know, right? Pick the 33-year-old to not play as well as he has. But like, they had no juice. Aaron Judge disappeared. Bryce Harper had his home run, but otherwise he disappeared. Kyle Schwarber played well against the good teams. He disappeared. I mean, played well against the bad teams, disappeared against the good ones. It was really like the young guys stepped up. Roman Anthony was great. Gunnar Henderson was great. Bobby Witt Jr. was great. PCA was great. Probably need a little more youth in this tournament. Yeah, Bryce Turang. Probably need a little more of the young guys in this tournament. Guys who, this is going to sound ready for this, guys who grew up with the World Baseball Classic.
Which is true. I mean, this is the 20th year of the World Baseball Classic, which is something that makes us feel old. I don't want to take too much time just taking a big dump on Team USA. I want to give a lot more credit to Team Venezuela. Like, that was a team that they dug deep. The way their bullpen pitched in those games, I kind of, we don't get that much exposure to tournament style baseball ever. It's something you do when you're a child and then when you're a teenager, and then you don't see it ever again the rest of your lives unless you take part in the Winter League
or the College World Series. Like, and you see some chaos there, but like those teams have like 2 good pitchers maybe.
But to see a guy like Daniel Palencia like put that team on his back and not take over games because he's pitching 1 inning at a time, but just shut the door in such a defiant, devastating fashion. Like, there was the clip that's gone very viral now where with 2 strikes on Roman Anthony in the 9th innings to get the final out, he was like actually starting to tear up and get emotional on the mound. And then he uncorked one of the nastiest 100-mile-an-hour fastballs I've ever seen in my life that had crazy lift on it. It was basically an unhittable pitch, and he knew that the pitch, he knew he was just going to uncork a nasty, unhittable fastball that Roman Anthony, who's one of the better, again, young, but one of the better hitters in the league already at this point, would still have no chance to catch up to it. Just how, I don't know, it's fun. Like Michael Garcia, another guy who's not really notable unless you either are a sicko or freak like Mark and I or play fantasy baseball. And then he wins the MVP of this tournament coming off almost a 6-win season. It's like, it's very fun to get exposure to these guys that didn't have it in the past.
Yeah, and even looking at like just other teams around, Team Italy making the run to the semifinals and almost taking down Team Venezuela. Like, it was close down to the end.
Seventh inning, they had them.
Yeah, Aaron Nola pitched great. Michael Lorenzen, even though he gave up the lead, like really didn't pitch poorly either. It's a shame he's going to pitch in Colorado because it's not going to matter how well he pitched right now. But like, you're finding guys like Sam Antonacci, who was playing really well and has been kind of like a spring training darling before WBC. We saw Nick Morabito get into games. We saw Dante Nori in center field for Team Italy play really well.
Alex Rodriguez had Dante Nori, future star.
Okay, I mean that's a bold one. I mean he's in our division, so keep an eye out for Dante Nori. But I mean let's pump the brakes there. Hey, at least A-Rod was pumping the tires for the WBC, unlike the captain Derek Jeter, who was like, nah, this means nothing. The World Series is better.
Yeah, before the game, that was a fun, divisive conversation that happened around the World Baseball Classic, and I'll definitely say I understand both sides, but I think, and it is just us being Americans. Like, of course, I think the World Series is more important. But then watching Team Venezuela win and watching the way they sang their anthem and watching like the entire team cry, watching Ronald Acuna Jr. cry when they won the semifinal game in the outfield, like there's definitely a level of emotion these guys have representing their countries that we just probably don't have.
Yeah, I'm not. Is it just because of Major League Baseball and growing up, like you aspire to be a Major League Baseball player and win a World Series? Where I talking to a lot of like the Venezuelans or Dominicans, like this, not that necessarily this tournament, but this is their opportunity to prove that their country is the best in the world. And when you beat America, USA, who's supposed to be the best in it, is 75% of the players in Major League Baseball. It's a huge, not just pride for the country, but it's a big chip on their shoulder too of like, we're just as good as you, no matter what.
There's probably also something is that none of these guys live in their home countries, and most of that is like by of course by choice. Like they've reached the major leagues, they've succeeded in dreams, they have riches, wealth, great situations, but to actually be able to represent their countries again, which is something they don't get to do. I think if a lot of American-born players, you probably feel like subconsciously you're kind of just representing your country all the time. Like you're never not. Like, oh yeah, I'm Aaron Judge. I'm a Yankee. I live in New York. I play for the like what I mean. I'm in America. Like it seems very obvious you're representing your country. It felt like Skeens was the one guy who was like vivaciously passionate about repping USA in this tournament for this team, and the other guys were like, yeah, we like America. Salute.
Yeah, him and Griffin Jacks, the two Air Force guys. Like
literally Griffin Jacks. My roommate's an Air Force guy. And he was, I mentioned that to him. He's like, no way, two? I was like, yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah, Paul Skeens being a sneaky Air Force guy. He used to play catcher at Air Force as well and would hit tanks, which is kind of hilarious. They should have let him hit last night.
Yeah, right. Griffin Jacks actually graduated from the Air Force. And then he didn't take a tour, but I think he was stationed somewhere in America. And he actually had to leave his first few minor league seasons to go. I don't know the exact terminology, so I apologize, military personnel. But he basically had to leave and be somewhere for military stuff for a few months of the year, and he would come back and then he would
Deployed.
leave. But it's not deployed because he was still in America, I believe.
Okay, was he like a reserve? I don't know.
Reserve station. Again, I'm not sure, so don't want to offend. But like, it's having two guys in the team that did that was cool. Was Griffin Jacks on this team?
Yeah, Griffin Jacks was on the team.
Why didn't he pitch on Tuesday?
He's pitched a lot. They've used him a lot.
Because that was the other kind of storyline about what was going on at WBC. It was Mark DeRosa watch, which he had the gaffe in the group play where it didn't seem like he realized that America had to win to advance, and he backtracked, and they retracked. They didn't
seem to realize he did not.
Yeah, and then also just like the way that he said before the game that Mason Miller was available, but then after the game we found out it was only a safe situation, but then it was tied in the ninth inning when we blew it. No safe situation could have arose, and then with the flip side of that, the Cubs tried to make Daniel Palencia not available, and Omar Lopez, the Venezuelan manager, was like, we're going to make him available for a safe situation. They're like, okay, I guess so.
Yeah,
Palencia's like, yeah, I'm going to pitch.
Like, again, I hope this isn't taken as like a shot to any of the guys on USA, but like the other countries just felt like they had a little more oomph, a little more zest, they felt like dogs, where it felt like Team USA again, and I mentioned this on the windup when we talked about it, felt like they were playing the bad guy role. The Soviets on the Miracle on Ice, like just like coming in, there was like a
hockey jerseys,
a different energy about them where it's like come
corporate
in business, like beat us, like they had a target on their back as opposed to being like we are the best, come beat us and have some fun with it. They were tight.
They just didn't have any fun with it. Like all these other teams had fun with it. Like Salvador Perez as leader, you're having fun with it. The whole Dominican team, all they did was have fun with it. Like Vinny Pasquantino and the Espresso, they were having fun with it. Like Joe Davis mentioned that Shohei Ohtani showed more emotion in that home run against Venezuela than he'd seen like ever from the guy, which like that's kind of crazy to hear. This USA team just kind of, they felt like they were six in the mud half the time. It didn't. I was rooting for USA, of course, but it felt like this tournament had a more satisfying ending with them not winning.
Yeah, weirdly, it kind of did. Venezuela was the better team in this tournament. They played better baseball. They deserved to win, and hats off to them for being the World Baseball Classic champions for the first time in the history of the tournament.
Yeah. Thank you guys for all hanging out there watching with us. I know some Mets fans don't really love the World Baseball Classic. They'll hold the vendetta probably forever from Edwin Diaz, but this tournament's amazing. It's so cool to see where it's been. I feel like this is something that's really, again, after the World Series, grabbed so many more eyes from Major League Baseball as we get this crazy momentum heading into the season, and just don't really want to blow that momentum in a few months.
I hope not. I hope we can keep baseball moving because there is no reason to stop whatsoever. Nothing is wrong. Nothing's broken. But that's a story for another time. That's it for this episode, guys. Short, quick one. Not too much to talk about. I know there's been Francisco Lindor back in spring training.
Mark Vientos stuff.
In games, Mark Vientos stuff, which I think we'll address probably in the next episode. But we wanted to keep this one short and sweet. My internet in Miami is terrible, so I'm not going to hold you guys much longer. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to MetsUP. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
And I'm Draft Nick Mark. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Let's go Mets.